Welcome to the Lockdown Showdown, brought to you by the Bodyboarding News Network. Well, after a short break, we are back to bring you another banger of episode, hanging out with PLC, a true master of his craft, a true ambassador for the sport of bodyboarding. So sit down, relax, and enjoy this episode. Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Lockdown Showdown. We are dropping in on the man himself, Pierre Louis Costes, PLC. He's sitting steady in Portugal and living life under lockdown. Brother, how are you, and how is life under lockdown for you guys?
Well, life is not easy, obviously. It's a hard situation for everyone. Just trying to look at the positive way of the situation, which is, for me personally, is the fact that I can spend more time with the family, especially with my son that is growing up, and all the schools are closed, so it's pretty. The days are pretty long. I'm never bored. Trust me.
Shame, man. That's good. Well, yeah, dude, because you're always on the road. You're always out there. Always got to be somewhere. Yes. Got to be at some event or something's always happening. And I think this whole COVID has given us time to reassess our lives in terms of what's important and what's not important. And
it's so true.
I think after this, we're going to be definitely approaching things a lot different. Well, Pierre, I mean, no stranger to the scene of bodyboarding. I mean, you've multiple world champion, and just such a epic dude to hang around with. Last year, you released
Thanks, bro.
a cinema. I mean, it's a cinema. I can't even think about that word right now. Masterpiece. You guys released a masterpiece called Tender. All right.
Thank you, brother.
You did a massive roadshow around it. Just give us a bit of an insight on how the idea started for Tender. The tour around it and the project itself.
Yeah, well, living this situation right now makes me appreciate the tour last year even more. I mean, it's pretty crazy. If the movie came up this year, I wouldn't be able to do the tour. So, I was grateful. Every place I went, but this situation right now, like you said, it just makes us really think more about all the simple things we had in life that we had for granted, and now a lot of time to think. But anyway, so the idea of making a project started in 2016. There was two reasons. One of the reasons was I really wanted to do in my career. I mean, it was a dream of mine to make a bodyboarding movie. I think the reason was because I felt like I owe something, to the sport. I owe a lot to bodyboarding. Basically my entire life, and I felt like it was the right time. So I decided to take a year off tour, and it was the same. It was at exactly the same time that I knew I was going to be a father. So I really changed my priorities. Late 2016. And the crazy adventure of starting to make a movie came up. We knew that it was going to take a while, for various reasons. The fact that the project was very ambitious, and that obviously I had to juggle world tour, family, and the movie. So 3 years later, the movie was finally ready, and I try to say as much as I can every time I talk about the movie, that the premieres and all the places I went and all the events was by far the highlight of this entire project.
All right, nice. Give us a couple of highlight points. Which places were some standouts?
So
iconics.
One of the coolest parts is the fact that I was able to go to places that I've never been, and so all the premieres were special. All the premieres were special for different reasons. Like the one in Australia, the big one, the first one, it was almost like it couldn't be any better because we booked a really like a great cinema. The guys like Josh and Ben helped a lot, and all like the big guys were there, like all the legends like Pat Cadwell and Steve McKenzie, Wignut, and that was very special, to have this generation there. And them, the guys like guys like Epo, we owe so much to guys like guys like them, and then you had the another generation like Tanner and Tristan and Sammy. So it was very special. The first premiere was very special, and we kind of built momentum since that premiere. The one in France was special because I had the family there and the friends. Like, Italia was very somewhere special because it was a very different event. First of all, like it's not a place that you think about when it comes to bodyboarding. And so when the guys contacted me, I knew one of the guys, and I was happy to help. And they were like, "Okay, we're gonna organize everything. All you have to do is come, present the movie." And it was a big, like, very like positive surprise. Like what they did, like organizing the event inside like an old fortress and managing to create an event that was associated to the premiere, obviously, but it was like a party, like 350 people came up, and there was like an open bar. It was just like very, very special. That was very special what they did. And then after Europe, what I did, the one in Portugal was very special too, in front of, once again, like my family from Portugal and my friends. And it was the biggest in terms of audience. It was a huge room, and we were kind of nervous to fill it up. And it actually worked. It actually worked, and the whole bodyboarding community, like, we're talking about like more than 800 people came up, and that was something pretty wild. See so many bodyboarders inside the same room, And then then we definitely finished in style in South Africa. One place I always dreamt of coming, and I can take the opportunity to thank you and all the guys that made that trip memorable. And I really love the way the trip finished. Going to the country that I would say right now has probably the strongest riders now, and probably the leading nation of the sport in terms of like athlete. And it was kind of a really symbolic way to finish, and then we just go to somewhere I've never been, and somewhere that is actually pushing the sport right now in a very high level.
And did you ever thought that it would actually get that big, or this type of reception that Contender has received? Did you ever thought that in your wildest dreams that it's going to be taking you to these new places?
No, not at all. No, seriously, not at all. Like when we had the project of doing 3 premieres, there's one in Australia, and then one in France and Portugal. That was just the original plan. And then as soon as the teaser came up in August, I started to receive so many requests from people that from places that I never like imagined there was actually a community. Like I received requests from people in Canada, in Sweden, in Israel. Like, it's like, wow, what's this is going big. And then so I couldn't. Unfortunately, I didn't have time to satisfy everyone. I wish I went to all these places just to discover another community, another group. But no, it went way further than we thought. And then the thing is, Australia was such a success, and everything after that was just part of the momentum. And then, for example, when the premiere arrived in California, for example, all the legends saw that premiere in Australia, like from far away, and then they decided to go to the premiere in California just to kind of live the momentum, like the snowball effect. And you had guys like Paul Roach and Jay Reel, and for me, it's unreal to have those people there. Like we are from a completely different generation. Those guys were like at the top of their career before I was even born. So to have them and actually enjoy like a modern bodyboarding movie, it was very special. And so, like I said, the fact that the project managed to join so many people, around the world for like a special night, yeah, that was definitely the highlight, and yeah, it definitely like surpassed the expectation.
That's incredible. Just shows you, it was like the whole bodyboarding world just united, and those evenings were very special. And the evening we had was
they were.
It was we even struggled to put words together in terms of how magical it was at night. Rocking up at the after party. I mean, there's your name up in lights. I mean, it was really
it was
really
insane, bro.
really cool, man. Like, yeah, dude. So, what was your favorite section of that movie? I mean, you were surfing some absolute bombs. I mean, what we love about it is the raw, honest nature of it, where you guys came from, being stuck in Morocco. You just kind of opened up, and the whole world was kind of looking at PLC with a whole different new perspective. So from our side, the rawness and the honesty is by far one of my favorites. But what was your favorite section in that movie?
Well, it's really hard to pick one because they all make all make part of the story. I think in terms of something different, I would say, and it's kind of an opinion share like a few people I talked to, that I think the opening section was one of my favorite in Morocco, because it really it's a type of surfing and wave that are not connected to bodyboarding, which I don't think it's kind of something normal, because I really think bodyboarding is actually the most functional way to ride a wave in any type of wave. So we really try to actually surf every type of waves in the movie. Yeah. And I think I really love that section. And it's hard to pick one. I mean, Australia too. Like, I mean, we were so lucky with the waves, and everything went so well together. I was so scared, like before going to South Oz, with sharks, and already knew that I was going to be father. So it was a very special trip. But yeah, it's hard to pick one. But I mean, yeah, this is a more question that I like to ask, the public, the opinion. So yeah, it's hard. It's really hard to pick one. I really like the California section as well. Having Tom Morey's input into like modern performance was great.
Yeah, that's also very special, very iconic. Having Tom there and you sitting there with him. It's a special thing. That's the guy who made it all happen for us today. So
it was a very special experience.
No, that's
definitely one of the highlights shooting the project.
Sure, I think anyone. Tom Morey. Yeah, it's a bit sublime. Sublime. Oh well, that's taken us. Okay, so we can get a tender still. It's available on movementmag.com. Is that still correct? So you can
yes.
Get
correct.
Over there. Is there any other platforms besides Movement Mag?
No. It's just one platform.
Right. Do you still have some coffee table books available?
Yeah. Yes, they are. They're available on the movement site and on Bodyboard Center too for people living in Europe. So,
all right,
it's available.
We'll definitely add links to that at the end of the episode. It's taking us to our next topic. This whole world, the whole economic thing is also on its head, and sponsors are changing. Athletes are coming and going. It's just kind of taking us to our new point. I mean, you've been with Rip Curl for, 14 years, 15 years?
20 years.
20 years.
20 years
I mean,
almost,
that's
18 years, 19.
Incredibly long to be with a specific sponsor. The hammer dropped. Life came to a stop, and you got picked up by Sen, where it all began for you. Give us a bit of an insight on that and how the change has been and where you are now mentally in terms of being secure with a good sponsor and someone that believed in you since day one.
Well, yeah, that's we're very well put together. So first of all, Mathieu is a friend, owner of Sen, and when I came back from, so when I was 11, when I went back to France from Morocco, he was my first sponsor with Sen that had at the time 2 years old, and then with another brand of volleyball, and then then Rip Curl came along with a better deal. And Mathieu didn't, he was a friend. He became a friend, and as a friend, he knew that was that was a great opportunity, and that was the right call for my career. That at the time I was still really young, but he knew that Rip Curl was able to offer me something that he wasn't going to. And so I started Rip Curl since I'm 12 years old, and we built a very strong relationship. I mean, when I entered the Rip Curl team, bodyboarding was like one of the priority. I joined like a team made of maybe 10, 15 people just in France. Guys, like so many guys were riding for Rip Curl. Amori was riding for Rip Curl. Like there's so many people that actually rode for them, and even around the world. Like I think Mackenzie was still doing ads in Mag, and Jason Hazel, and so they had a pretty solid team. And then, after a few years, everyone just started to have the contract dropped, and I would say most of the team beside me, and Rip Curl Europe. I really like to sometimes put emphasis on the fact that Rip Curl Europe helped me, because I think in Australia and United States, bodyboarding was not a priority anymore, obviously. And I think if I was riding I think Rip Curl International didn't really care, to be honest. Like, they knew like I helped selling wetsuits, obviously, along my career, but it was really the family that I made with Rip Curl Europe, and some of the people, some of the humans that were working with Rip Curl Europe, And that was. I'm grateful and I'm thankful for having the opportunity to be ridden to ride for a brand like Rip Curl in my career. They helped me achieve all my dreams. They helped me achieve all the goals that I had in bodyboarding. And in parallel, Mathieu from Saint was a friend. He was a friend, and times to times when my contract was running out, he was there with an offer. And obviously Rip Curl's deal was always better. It was a bigger brand with a more comfortable situation, I would say. But then the last few years, I would say for like 4 to 3 years, everything changed. I mean, I had that movie project that Rip Curl was keen to sponsor, and I kind of knew that was going to be the last project I will do with them. It was kind of the way to end the career with Rip Curl. And then by the end of 2019, I mean, Sen deal was much more interesting for the rest of my career. I don't think I could. There's nothing I could have done more with Rip Curl. I wasn't about to be using my potential or what I know how to do, or I wasn't going to help the brand to grow, that's for sure. And the opportunity to actually do that with a brand and help a brand to grow and use my image and support, and that believes in bodyboarding and has plans to develop the sport and to invest in the sport. Yeah, that just felt more like normal to me. And Saint has values that I really share with them, starting things like, saving the planet and the environment, so it was just worked perfectly. By the end of 2019, I was just, let's just say I followed my heart on that decision, and I don't have any regrets, and I'm very excited, for the future, and there's plenty of, interesting and project for bodyboarding in the future.
No, that sounds good. And that takes me to my next question. So what is the importance of having a good, stable sponsor?
Well, it's very important. And, that's why it was just too good with Rip Curl. Like, I had such a stable sponsor in my career. And I know that I'm super, let's say, conscious that Rip Curl is one of the reasons that I was able to achieve what I did. The fact that she had I didn't have to work. I had a budget to actually follow the tour and, go on trips, and that helps mentally, It can work both ways. You can actually don't have the budget, and then every comp you're going to enter, you're just going to fight even more because you know that you depend on prize money and you just, you need a result to keep doing the tour. Or you just can let yourself down and then being depressed, I don't have any money, so I'm just going to give up. And, some people just have that just, fire instinct and just keep going. I think that's something actually South African were, for me, very admirable for. I really think some of the, people coming from South Africa, with the currency in South Africa being pretty low, it was always difficult for them. Everywhere they will go, everything was going to be more expensive. And I think they've shown a very aggressive and incredible side, I think, as competitors. And having a stable sponsor is very important. It feels like it was just easier back in the day. But now it's all about getting money in other places. It's all about getting the money from either your government. It's about to show what you can do in social network to have a brand grow. It's just a different world, really.
Yeah, absolutely. So that takes me to the next one. All right. So explain us a little bit about your support structure. Do you have any coaches? What type of role is your family playing in you achieving your goals, chasing your dreams and stuff like that? Like what goes on behind the scenes?
Yes. So I would say that having a relationship serious early adds something very stable to an athlete. Because, in surfing and bodyboarding, they are sports that are, are very, let's say, not very structured in terms of, coaching and anti-doping stuff. I mean, like, it's a pretty, good life, to be living as a surfer or bodyboarder, to be honest. And, but when you want to start to achieve something and get results, you need to focus. There's no secret. I mean, there's no like secret formula. You need to be focused. You need to make sacrifices. You need to be, you need to have your like interests set for like something you want to achieve. So I think family, wife, kids. I think this is something that adds stability to your life. That's for sure. And in terms of coaching, I think the sport is still a bit too. Some people do have coach. I have help with people that I trust, but we are not to that level that you can actually pay a coach to go with you in events. I think that would help for sure. I mean, I always kind of did everything alone, but I really think that in some situation you need that guy that can, or that girl that can actually help you and in like kind of comforting your choices. And sometimes you just need someone else. I don't believe you win alone. You need a team behind you.
Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, it's a tricky year for a professional sports people in general. So what are you doing in this time that you are trying to adapt and to change to this whole situation? Are you taking some pages from different sports, some icons, different athletes from around the world, and are you applying that to your personal life as well?
Yeah, I mean, like, I'll look what other people do. There's no really point to look, like big sport, because most of those guys have a lot of money and they mostly can train in very like easy conditions. And but then I follow very closely what's happening to the sports world. Having all those events canceled, and you realize that. As bodybuilder, we're pretty lucky. Like we can't surf right now, so we're not that lucky. But I mean, there's some people that are just going to lose their careers right now. And we're talking about sports that it's all about competition, like tennis, like soccer, like a lot of individual sport. Like it's like if they don't play tennis, they're just not going to make money. They're not going to make money, and they just like there's nothing else like. Besides that, you know what I mean? Is that they're not going to go on the tennis court and then have that feeling we have when we actually go surf. It's very tricky. I mean, like all this. So for some people, having the Olympics next year, it's just like for some people, it's like the end. It's not another year. It's just too much for some of the sports. Yeah. Same goes for like any sport, really. Like pushing everything for a year, you can enjoy yourself. mean, it's pretty tricky, but yeah, I mean, like, I think, well, the way I see it is a lot of people suffering with this situation, you know, like, especially like the medical care system. And every time we complain, we kind of have to sing about them. You know, some of them wish they were home. Some of them can't even like hug their families, you know, they can't even be with their family just because of the risk of infection. So I'm more inspired by this kind of people right now. Obviously, see what all the like surfers and bodyboarders do, but it's the same. You kind of have to stay home as much as you can, help the disease not to spread, and just train at home, and just try to do things that you never thought you would do, or use that free time to finally do things that you should have done a long time ago. That's the thing to do, really.
Yeah, it's kind of the only way right now. All right, so let's take it back. Let's jump into the water. Let's walk back into time, and let's get into your final 2012. It's IBA days, the Fronton.
IBA days, yeah.
You and a very informed Dave Winchester. I mean, you guys were trading big punches on those left-handers. I mean, we had
in the semi-final, yeah.
In the semi-final, that's correct. So we had a nice piece of steak and a couple of bowls of wine, and I mean, you told me a little bit in depth about that story, and it stuck with me for a while, and I'm really wanting to get this out. So tell us a little bit about that heat, leading up to that heat, specifically that heat, and the end of that heat. Like, I mean, that was probably one of the power heats in bodyboarding history, in modern day bodyboarding history, I would say. I mean, it was just everything.
The semi-final with Winchester, or yes, the final with Jared?
I would say the semi with Winchester. I think that was that was mental. I mean, Jared as well. I mean, you can talk about both, please do. Yeah. But those two heats.
Yeah, I know what you mean. They were both same event. Both heats were completely different. You know, because they like, you know, the semi-final there was a world title in play, and the final was just all about a battle between us two. So started. Okay, so 2012 started. I was actually the defending like world champion at the time, and one of my goals after winning the title was to win an event, like a spectacular event. To be honest, all the events I won prior to that, like in Peru or Brazil or Puerto Rico, were good results, were memorable victories, but I didn't win an event comparable to, you know, the 97 pipe final with Mackenzie or the 2001 Shark Island Challenge. And I really think there's two, like in competition, they are obviously the world titles, but I think a win in a special event is just as important, you know. It's as memorable for people, it's as historical. And 2012 started with a credible pipe event, as good as it gets, and then it just finished perfectly too that year with the best condition I've ever seen for an event, to be honest, because I've been to a lot of competition, but what was special about Fronton was the waves pumped from the trials was just incredible all the way to the final. There wasn't one heat that you were just like waves are average. It was just firing, no wind for like 3 or 4 days, like 6 to 8 foot, like 10 to 12 on the last day. It was just unbelievable. And the final day was just stacked. I mean, like pumping away, you're just like, I don't know, you just kind of feel that you're just competing on the wall to fully make sense, you know, this kind of event. And then, so all the way to, I managed to reach the semi-final against Dave Winchester. And so that was it was probably the most important hit of the year in terms of who was going to win the world title. So prior to Fronton, I was going for the world title with I think with Tamega, Winnie, and Jeff. And by the end of the event, I think it was Puerto Rico. When after Jeff won the event, it was only going to be between Jeff and Winchester, the battle. And I mean, like Jeff and Winnie had a crazy, like Winnie looked unstoppable. Like Winnie, like started with 2 semifinals, like 2 third places, and then back-to-back win in Arica and Itacoatiara, and then another third place in Mexico, and another third place in Puerto Rico.
Jeez.
Like he was just like so consistent. It was ridiculous. Like everything was just pointing out at him as the world champion. I mean, even like mid-year, people like even started. I remember even mid-year, people stopped competing, like because there was less like kind of no points. Winnie was going to be world champion, but Jeff Harvard just just went crazy. Like the last like in the second half of the year, winning like back-to-back Mexico and Puerto Rico. And yeah, all of a sudden it was just 2-man battle. And so that semi came along. It's very historical and very emotional for various reasons, like, so if we travel back to 2011, Jeff had an incredible year and lost early at front on, and had to reach the semi-final to be world champion. And it happened. It happened, and Jeff lost the world title that year by like maybe 1 hit away, and then back to 2012 semi-final with Winchester. I had to beat Winnie for Jeff to be world champion. It was just kind of like a, like giving, like it's like in 2011, say I'm sorry, Jeff. I said I was sorry, but he was like, no, you deserve it. And then and in 2012, I had the opportunity to just like pay him back almost, But the waves were firing, Winchester was surfing just incredibly like the whole year. And then the waves were firing, and there was just like 8s and 9s, and then honestly, I think it was a very close heat. From what I remember, I need like a 9, I think, to get in first. I got a 9-2, but I think maybe Winnie had 18 points and I had 19 points, like something crazy.
That's
and then all which I had to do was just make the final, beat me in semis, and it just didn't happen. And I could just listen like from the water, like everyone screaming, like all the Hawaiians were just so happy. Jeff was just losing his mind. Jeff was so nervous, and I can understand because it was about to happen like twice. Like he lost the heat before with Mark McCarthy, and it was just like, wow, this is just history repeating again. And then yeah, I just like kind of relieved him from all that pressure. And I mean, both guys were just deserved to win the world title. It was a rough year. It was rough for Winchester to lose because he didn't deserve to lose. The way he's been surfing, he definitely deserved to be world champion. But Jeff is just one of the greatest too for knowing how to just deal with pressure and just coming back in very hard situation. And yeah, it was a great battle. It was very, very, very proud to be part of this, historic moment. And then, then the final with Jared was like, I've seen a photo recently, like as a memory on Facebook, us splitting that pic. And I was like, wow, this is a good memory. And I realized that was 8 years ago already. And
crazy.
Till to this day, it was still the best event and the best hit of my life. It was definitely the best, like in everything, all these whole events, like, world titles, injuries, big wave, wipeouts, crazy talented field. Everything was there to make an incredible event. And yeah, like the final was just unbelievable. Like I was like combo after 5 minutes. Jerry was just surfing on fire this entire event. Like he was definitely like the guy to beat. And like, it was going to take something pretty special to beat Jared. And after being combo, I guess I had nothing else to lose. Like I just had to go crazy. I had to do something special. And then I came away like an insider. And that's the way I did a spin in the barrel. And I came out there, I did a backflip. And yeah, that just like kind of put me back into the heat, but I still needed 8 or something. And then then swayed it patiently. A bomb came through. I think Jerry took off on the first one. He didn't make a huge IRS, and then I got the score at the back. And Craig Hayden just made a comment on the photo. So he was the head judge, and he told me. And then I looked back on YouTube. So I won with 17.76 and then Jerry lost with 17.7. So that was 0.06.
So that is where
pretty crazy.
So is that where the name the Heartbreaker comes in? I mean, that's the name of your board and stuff like that, because you always seem to have spoken to someone's dreams, you know. But that's being a competitor. I mean, you just never stop.
It is, man, like
until the horn sounds or the whistle blow, you go 100%.
Then I was on the other side too. I've been in the other side. Like if you look back at 2017 with 2008 with Tanner in the final, got like 9.5, 9.6. Everything is like pretty much set. I'm gonna win Arica again.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, Tanner got 210. So just like until it's never over until the end. Never.
That day was nuts. I called him Tanner McDaniel because it's like, I mean, you had a 9.5 or 9.8. It was just insane. I mean, how good that final for me and being there. That was fucking crazy. That was crazy.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Oh, man, thank you for that good trip down memory lane. So I'm going to shoot 5 sweet little fast questions your way as we are starting to end our interview with you. So what's the best advice that you ever got?
Best advice, I received a lot, but I like to I'd like to tell that story again with when I was 15, maybe. I was flew to Australia, and I was with Emmanuel at the time, that was owner of Pride. And so we went down the coast, and Ben Player was there, and he saw me surfing, and he just like, when I left the water, he gave me an advice that till this day I remember, because Ben is like known to be like, perfectionist, and being the guy that just looked at all the details. And he told me that I was lifting the wrong leg when I was going for a bottom turn. Like when you do a bottom turn, you should rise your leg your leg in direction of the beach, not the opposite, because if you do that, you might touch water and lose speed. So that was a pretty damn good advice. That from that day I was just doing that every time I was going for bottom turn. I was trying to raise the right leg. And then that just helps. It just, Ben is just super. I don't know if people know how crazy Ben is about, perfectionism. And you see it. He's the one guy that just kept getting better and better and better and better. You know, I remember in Hawaii one year, he just cut with a knife. He just cut a spot on the rails. So in order to have those hands at the exact spot, So pretty crazy.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy. All right. Your favorite stupid joke?
What do you mean?
Your favorite stupid joke. It's exactly what I mean.
Okay. That's a hard one. I've never been really good at that.
All right, we can skip that one. All right. So
I'll try to remember one.
All right. So what's your favorite pastry?
Maybe do the Eclair, the coffee one.
Ooh, that sounds good. Your favorite wave?
Maybe my son's awake. Maybe front on.
Okay, front on. And the last one, did you ever have any preheat superstitions or rules or something like that, or like a ritual you do for yourself before you go into the water?
Yeah, I used to when I was younger. When I was younger, I had like that. I don't know if it's superstition, it's just like a routine that I used to like to stick with. I remember I had to listen to three specific songs.
Oh yeah.
Before going into a hit. It was that ridiculous. Like that I wanted to respect that. Sometimes I arrived late in the heat because I had to finish.
That's crazy. Yeah. All right. Thanks, brother. Thank you for your time. Thank you for
Thanks to you.
allowing us to drop in on you. And stay safe, and we'll catch you soon.
See you, Dean. See you. Thanks for everything.
Bye-bye.
Yeah.
Well, I really hope you guys enjoyed hanging out with PLC like I did. And what a great insight of being the champ himself. Well, coming up in our next episode, I'm hanging out with Manny Vargas. Manny Vargas, always the guy on the other side of the microphone, and this time he's the one getting asked a couple of questions. It's a raw and honest discussion about his life and the role he has played in bodyboarding up until now. So up until next time, Mumbles out.